Do you want to know the things that no one tells you before you start your business? Aloha and mahalo for joining me. I'm Janet and welcome to the Call to Create podcast. I am here to help you with all things creative and helping you to start your business. I want to be here to teach you all the things you know to prep you before you start your business and even after you start your business. But I really appreciate you being here because today I want to talk about these things that no one ever tells you before you started your business. Or maybe you're thinking about starting your business, but no one has ever told you these three things. So I'm going to talk about what I think is the three most important things that I wish somebody told me before I started my business a long time ago. And maybe somebody should have reminded me of it again, many years ago, because, business is hard. I have to be real with you. Business is hard because it takes a lot out of you, but it is also so rewarding too at the same time. And that's what I want you to know. I don't want to start off being so negative about starting a business. But, when someone is real with you, you really appreciate it more because it's almost like preparing you for what you're in for. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the three things. And there's a huge list of things that you need to know. So let me just preface by saying that there is a long list of things that you need to know before you start your business or if you're thinking about it. But I'm going to talk about what I think is the top three that is the most important. And to be honest, not that I ever was dishonest with you, but the first two I struggled with and I still struggle with it. So let's talk about it. Now, have you ever had your mother say to you, or you wish you would have said to you, that I told you, but you didn't listen? Or maybe she said something like, I told you, but you didn't believe me. And, I say that because my mom has said that to me many, many times. And I have said that to my kids many, many times. Because it's one of those things that if you have never gone through something, you don't know what it would be like. It's like empathy. You can't be empathetic if you've never experienced something. So like if you've never had a loved one pass away, you would never know how to comfort someone who has had a loved one pass away. You can be sympathetic, but not empathetic. So it's like, I'm going to tell you all these things, like the top three things that you need to know, but are you going to believe me? And you may not. You may not think because maybe you just have these three things down, like you're good at it and all of that. And maybe you don't believe me. But let me share my thoughts with you. And also, it really depends where you are mentally, spiritually, and emotionally too. Not everybody is going to struggle with these top three things. Maybe they might struggle with only one or two of them. Maybe some people won't struggle at all. But that's okay. I still want to share these things so that, you can say, oh yeah, she did say that. If you do struggle with this when you have your business, when you start it, or if you're continuing to work on starting it. But the first thing, the number one thing is it's a big time commitment. Like I can't even emphasize that more because I didn't realize many years ago that it would take so much time to have a business because there's so much to know. And it's like when you're learning all the things that you have to do and even the things that aren't fun, okay, let's be realistic. There's a lot of things in business that are not fun, believe me. And, even till this day, I still don't enjoy some things in my business. But any business has to do things that are not fun. That's just part of business life. It doesn't matter what kind of business it is in the world or what kind of business you have. There are always going to be things that you don't enjoy. And that's just how it works. But you have to realize that it is going to take way more time than you had ever thought. And I still struggle with that till this day. I always think, oh, I have plenty of time. I have so many hours on this day and that day. But, when you get down to it and you actually are trying to work on something in your business, sometimes it takes twice as long as you thought or twice as long as you had available. Because maybe if you're creating something on the computer and something's not working, or you can't figure out what to write or what to say. And trust me, that happens to me all the time. When I'm out doing things or I'm in the house, I'm doing other things, I have all of these creative ideas and things that I want to talk about and teach on. And, it's going good in my head. But then when I get down to sit at my desk and start working on it, it's almost like all those ideas, because I didn't write it down. Sometimes I'm so busy doing something that I can't write down my idea. So when I have the time to work on it, I forget a lot of all those ideas that I had in my head, which makes me crazy. Like, I have no idea why I still do this to myself. I should know that if I have a creative idea, that I should stop what I'm doing and write it down. And there's no excuse, because if I don't have pencil and paper near me, I can always grab my phone and record something in my phone, a text. I can text it a note in my phone. I can create an audio. I can open my memo app and just talk into my memo app about my idea. So there is really no excuse. So when I get down to doing this creative thing that I thought about, my mind goes blank. So then it takes me so much time to try and remember what I was thinking about. And that could happen to you. And, it may not only be in business that it has happened to you. It could have been with anything else. But those are some of the things that happen when you think you have a lot of time. Where, that's just one example. There's so many more examples of it could take more time than you realize. And that can make you really frustrated. So think about that. Make sure it's going to be a big time commitment, especially if you're learning something new in business. That always takes a really long time. Okay, and then the second thing that you need to know, and that I wish somebody told me, is all about your mindset. You have to always be working on your mindset. And what that means is that you have to always be aware of what you're thinking about yourself, what you believe about yourself, and your abilities. I've talked about this on other episodes about how we think a certain way and we do things a certain way because of how we were brought up. And how we were treated and how we grew up really has a big part in what our adult lives are like. What you do, what you say, how you think, what you do and what you don't do especially. So if you have a mindset that's, really not helping you, you have to be aware of that and you have to always be working on that. I always suggest writing things out, write things down in a notebook. It's always more effective for you to process if you're actually writing it out with, a pen or a pencil or something like that. It's more effective than typing it in a Word doc. But you have to be aware that your thinking will get in your way. And it will get in your way, I can guarantee, in some area of business. It could be where you have doubts about yourself. It could be where you don't think that you're worthy of making money or that you're worthy of having your own business. There's like unlimited things that pop up. And I've heard a lot from many people of all the things that come up in your mind. It's scary that to think that you have this ability to let your mind just go and go, and you can literally talk yourself out of doing something that has so much meaning for you. And I know that you probably have experiences like that with something growing up in your life. And believe me, if you've struggled with it as a kid or a teenager, I can guarantee it'll come up when you become an adult, and especially if you are trying to have your own business. And because that's true for so many of my past clients, and it's true for so many of my friends and other business owners that I know. And it's true for me now, where I still have moments of thinking, oh my goodness, I may not, have what it takes to endure. Because really, having a business is also about enduring all these things that come up. Like, you have to push through it, you have to figure out how to get through all this kind of stuff. And it's your mind, it's your thinking that's really gonna hurt you or help you. So be aware that you will always need to be working on your mindset, your mind. You got to be working on that. And, that's part of being human too. We're not perfect, and we're not going to always have great thoughts, and we're not going to always, make the best choices. But that's okay. That's part of the journey here on earth. We're here to learn and grow, and you have to make mistakes. And you have to do things that are not perfect in your eyes, and it may not be perfect in other people's eyes, but it should never really matter what other people think of you. It only matters what you think about yourself. Okay, and all of it starts up in your head. It starts with what you're thinking. Okay, so be aware that mindset is a big part. Okay, and then the third thing that you need to know is you always have to talk about money. And I don't struggle with this because I grew up in a family where, I watched my mom, balance her checkbook. I had my grandmother and her siblings would always talk about money and rental property and all that kind of stuff. So talking about money is natural for me. I'm not scared of it or anything, but most people that I know and past clients and all of that, they have a really hard time talking about money and dealing with it. We all would love money to just flow automatically into our bank account every day, every week, every month, without having to really do much or look at it or think about it. It would be nice if we had a money tree, and we could go in our backyard and just pick off $100 bills. That would be really fun, actually. But talking about money for a lot of people is really, really hard. And one thing that I know for sure is that if you don't talk about money, you're never really going to be able to understand how to make money, how to deal with it, how to use it, how it can bless the lives of other people, and it will just cause you a lot of stress. I know so many people who have lost sleep because they don't know what their finances are like. They don't want to talk about it. They're scared of it. A lot of people I know have grown up where their families would talk about money like it's a bad thing. Like, if you have too much, you're a bad person. And people were told that you should never talk about money because you don't want people to think that, you have more than them, or you're better than them, or that you're smarter than them. And the list goes on. I have heard so many things. It's just amazing. And some people have witnessed their families fight about money. So they have this fear, if they talk about it, that they're going to get into a fight in their family, all these arguments, especially with married couples. That's one of the big things that happens in marriages that end in divorce, is that they fight over money. And, money doesn't have to be scary. Money is just a tool for you to use, and it's not good or bad. Money is just here to help us in our life. So be aware that you will have to talk about money because that's what a business is. You're here to make money so that you might need money from your business to live on. You may not. You need money definitely to pay for services for your business. There's programs you might need or equipment that you need to buy. So money, I just want to remind you again, is not a bad thing. Money is just here for us to use. And also, it's here for us to bless the lives of other people. There's no greater feeling than to be able to help people financially or buy a gift for someone and not have to worry about not having enough money, or you can only spend, $10 because you don't have enough money. But just be aware that you do have to deal with it and it'll be okay. You will be okay. The more you talk about it, the easier it gets. And that's with anything too. The more you talk about something, a subject that you don't like, the easier it becomes. So just remember that these things will be hard at first, but the more you talk about it and you deal with it and you face it, the easier it becomes. And these things, when you talk about it and deal with it, will definitely increase your chances of success that you can have in your business. And remember, I always talk about how when you have your own business, it's like it's connected to your personal life. So when you have success in your business, it's easier to look at having success in your personal life, because having a business that's profitable really gives you a confidence booster. It makes you feel like, wow, I can do that. And when you can realize that and then take it to your personal life that, hey, I accomplished this in my business, I can probably accomplish this in my personal life too. And it's for our good. Nothing that we do in our business is bad. All the things that we learn is all for our good, even when it's hard and you don't want to talk about it. So remember that. Okay, just a quick recap. The first thing that you need to know is that having your own business is a big time commitment. Number 2, your mindset. You always have to be working on your mindset. And number 3, you always have to talk about money, and it will be okay if you do. Now, I would love for you to reach out to me if you want to do a strategy session. Send me a DM and we can set up a time that we can talk and meet. And if you're interested in starting a business, I can help you get started with that. And I really appreciate you being here, and I want to remind you that you have worth and value because you were created by God and you are worth it. And I appreciate you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You are worth it. And please share this podcast with anyone who you know would get great value out of listening to it, especially if you know that they're thinking about starting their own business. Or even if they're not, there's still great value that I share in each episode that can bring value to women, even if they aren't interested in starting their own business. And please rate and review this podcast. I would appreciate it. And thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Aloha.